Hello, Brobs. We return to the Cartomancy reading of myself, and the second card in the central location, which is a Queen of Clubs. In this Virginia Slims feminist baby, you've come a long way, baby. Deck, her being upside down, her the queen. Pure symbolism. I didn't use the cards because of that purpose, as I've stated, but just because I picked them up in an estate sale yesterday. Let's read about the King of Clubs. I've also checked to see if the King of Clubs appeared in the previous two readings I did, one a control group of the first that I did, and it does not. As the book states, the position of in the spread, the cards which flank the central cards, number 2, which this one is, since I go left or center to left to right to left, blah, 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 etc., are the next most important cards in the spread. They clarify the personality of the querent and provide basic information regarding the situation in which he finds himself. A face card in the middle spread may represent the querent or may represent an individual close to him who plays a dominating role in his life. The latter is more likely to be the case if the card ordinarily designates an individual of the opposite sex from the querent. See, there's the problem there with using this deck of cards. I'm going to read into symbolism. So wait, we would assume that since it's upside down, the king, who knows? I can't comprehend it. But since this is actually a favorable one because it's going to all be about women then. How about that? The latter is more likely to be the case if the card ordinarily designates an individual of the opposite sex of the querent. All right, let's see what the King of Clubs portends. The King of Clubs represents a man of wide and diversified interests, outwardly sociable, but inwardly secretive and reserved. I will concur with that. Although I'm not sure I have diversified interests. This man will not be easy to know. You're not kidding. Burr's external appearance may belie his inner strength, and his natural reticence may cloak his sensitivity and idealism. Let's just say, unlike John Berryman, I do have inner resources. The King of Clubs will have learned to adapt himself to the world about him. No, he may appear cynical, yes, autocratic on things, harsh, or even unfeeling, but in his heart he is a crusader, crying out against injustice and eager to help his fellow men. He has been hurt many times, and therefore he has built a wall about his inner being to insulate himself from criticism. No. This man will have many talents, some of which he may have developed secretly, not disclosing his interest even to those closest to him. Such a man will find routine employment or conducting a business boring and confining. I think that's a given across the spectrum of people, but he may deliberately choose such work in order that his freedom be unencumbered during his leisure hours. You got that perfectly right, Claude. He may even be very successful in enterprises which are distasteful to him, provided he has other interests to satisfy his intellectual curiosity and surplus energies. Sort of a John Galtian approach, don't you think? I agree with it, but the King of Clubs is often a lonely man. No, don't get lonely. The sympathetic understanding of a woman will be vital to his happiness and his destruction, which they don't put in there, but he will have difficulty in making his wants known. No, I have no difficulty. He's easily discouraged in matters of romance, and in consequence often plays the passive role. He is susceptible to flattery, and although he will not admit it, tends to place a woman on a pedestal. That's pretty funny. Oh, that's fucking funny. I'm not going to disclose too many personal insights here, but that is rather funny. There is a natural affinity between the Queen of Diamonds and the King of Clubs. Where the hell's the Queen of Diamonds? There she is, up there, up in my upper left corner. In her shrewdness, the Queen of Diamonds will bring out this man's good points and exploit his talents. Her restless drive will incite him to greater activity, and her determination to live life fully will act as a challenge to his ingenuity and creative skill. Why is she in here? What does that even mean? On the other hand, the Queen of Spades, not in here, is inimical to the King of Clubs. Her haughty manner and concealed passions will deter him from the use of his talents. Where such a mismating occurs, both partners will withdraw to their inner recesses until no genuine contact exists between them. When the King of Clubs appears in the middle of the spread of a male querent, the indication is that it represents his own character and personality. When this card appears in the wings, it is more likely to represent a close friend, relative, or business associate of the querent. When the King of Clubs appears in the middle of the spread of a female querent, the indication is that such a man is playing a dominant role in her life. On the wings, the King of Clubs is likely to represent a man who will be significant in her life, but to a lesser degree. A spread which includes both the King of Clubs and the Queen of Spades is likely to augur a broken home, domestic unhappiness, or a marital rift. This will be intensified if cards which designate quarrels or misfortunes lie between these two face cards. I see no Queen of Spades, and I will not look for one in previous readings because it's inconsequential, but there we go. As I said, I will read the entire definition even when it doesn't apply, but we will assume that the King of Clubs is I, since I am a male, even though this one depicts an upside down female. It mentions nothing about the Ace of Clubs or the Eight of Hearts, so we shall move on. But let's see what there is about clubs in a suit. 10 of clubs, Jack of clubs, 9 of clubs, 7 of clubs. Oh, man. I don't want to get into the others. Preponderance of suits in the spread. Let's see what it says about clubs. A preponderance of clubs promises a more interesting and rewarding life. Clubs are frequently cards of energy, enterprise, sociability, and usefulness. Clubs indicate the presence of opportunities for new friendships and enlarged social circle, and the beginning of activities which will give added significance to the querent's life. There is a danger, however, that too many plans may prevent the fruition of any one. The querent should be warned to circumscribe his social activities in order to devote more time to the cultivation of few friends and the implementation of his most cherished ambitions. Obviously, the clubs are not predominant here. They are actually the least prevalent, as they appear in the first two cards and nowhere else. So that's kind of interesting. I don't think there's any high and low cards in the spread. The absence of the death card. The interpretation of face cards. Sample readings. The Queen of Spades. Let's see. Oh, these are just examples. If the reader feels that a more minute description is desirable, he should ask the querent to reshuffle the cards in the remaining pack. He should then select one or two cards from the pack and place them upon the face card. I'm not doing that. I think that's a ridiculous notion. That's for people who are paying $18.99 for a reading. I am doing this free of charge. So that's going to be all on the King of Clubs. It's not a bad summary. And next time we will go to the Eight of Hearts, and then I'll eventually have to do an interpretation of the three. which will take some time. That's an actual process, and I'll have to write it up and then just read it. All right, that's all for here. Goodbye, bruv. Goodbye.